Well, hello and welcome back to the Bellicose Nation. Today, my friends, we're going to get into a hot topic because I was having a conversation with a lady a few days ago, and she is convinced that the prison system is full of innocent people whose only crime is smoking a little weed and being African American. So let's get into this. Now, I think we're all aware of the surge in the prison population that kind of started a few decades ago. And when you look at the numbers, which are considerable, you might assume that it is because we're now locking up people for petty crimes. But that growth is actually from something else when you look into it. In a nutshell, people are simply in prison longer, serving a longer portion of their sentences due to the 3 strikes and you're out laws and the mandatory minimum sentencing laws and all that. And the longer you hold people in prison, the greater the population is going to grow. It's kind of like the bathroom at a concert. Why is the women's always way more full than the men's? Women are in the bathroom longer. And when you look at the racial component, you see, yep, blacks are way more often locked up. But the reality is they are way more likely to commit crimes than any other group. In fact, the numbers are so high, when you quote them, many people can't believe they're true. Black men kill at like 8 to 10 times the rate of the average white guy. And even black women kill more than white men do. It's really astounding and tragic. Now, I have debated a number of African Americans on this issue in the past, and they point to stats which show blacks are incarcerated more often and with longer sentences than whites are for the same crime. And I think their argument breaks down in that they assume that the average black guy showing up at court is the same as the average white. And when the averages come out different, they see a huge racist conspiracy. When the truth is, it has way more to do with the huge differences between the cultures and the support systems of whites and blacks. So let's quickly look at why 2 people arrested for the same crime yet come with different cultures or different backgrounds and support systems, and how the outcomes might be different. So one has a prior record. The other is much less likely to. One has a job or is enrolled in college. The other is much less likely to have that. One guy being charged has a community leader or a pastor or a boss come and vouch that overall he's a good kid who made a mistake. The other one has no such support. One has a father who went into his savings to pay for a lawyer. The other hardly even knows his father. One is perhaps married, taking care of a wife and a child. The other one is kind of all by himself with no motivation for reform. And we could go on, but you can see how the differences isn't all based upon race. It's about 2 different cultures. Now, we're not stereotyping, but we are generalizing based on facts. So for my friends out there who think it's all about race, think about this. If it were simply about race, why blacks get locked up more? Why is it blacks are convicted and serve just as much time in San Francisco as they do in Atlanta, Georgia, where so many blacks are involved in the justice system there? In fact, you could compare Philadelphia to another white city, or Birmingham to a predominantly white city, and you see the same thing. Blacks are locked up at even greater rates in these places where blacks are participating in the justice system. And wouldn't we see a marked difference from cities like this if African Americans were actually going to jail due to racial bias? Look, the reason we see so many blacks getting locked up is the collapse of the black family. And I'm going to deal with that in some other videos addressing who is to blame and what can be done to repair the damage. But let's get back to the prison surge and see what other effect it has had. Or are we just wasting our tax dollars locking people up? Okay, so now we're looking at the surge in the prison population, and we wonder, what would it hurt if we let folks out of prison earlier, like they used to do? Well, let's contrast incarceration rates with crime rates and see what we have. Holy smoke, look at that drop in violent and property crime. At the same time we began locking people up longer, crime dropped dramatically. And this chart only deals with violent crime and property crime, not smoking dope. So this is crime that touches people's lives. We're talking about rape, robbery, and murder here, boys and girls. And this correlation is due to the fact what? That the vast majority of crime is committed by a fairly small percentage of the population. And the more time they spend in jail, the less time they're on the street. And the less time they're on the street, the fewer victims are calling 911. 67% of people released from prison are rearrested within 3 years. So really, the question we must ask ourselves is, which do we want? Do we want to pay to keep them locked up or release them early and pay in our personal lives? The choice is yours. It's expensive either way. Now, if you've got an opinion on this, share it down below. And if you have data that you want me to see, feel free to message me with it. I'd like to see it too. Also, don't forget to subscribe. And this is the Bellicose Nation.